Oh,
Oh,
how does motivation not exist?
it's fake. Okay, like nobody wakes up every day and they're just like, hell yeah, let's go. It's 3 degrees outside. Let's go work out. Like, no, nobody is that excited.
Welcome to the LO Code Podcast, where we talk about everything from marketing to just general loan bullshit. In today's episode of the LO Code Podcast, we're going to be talking about motivation.
And how it doesn't exist.
Oh, how does motivation not exist?
It's fake. Okay, like nobody wakes up every day and they're just like, hell yeah, let's go. It's 3 degrees outside. Let's go work out. Like, no, nobody is that excited. I mean, sometimes I feel like, maybe a few days a year, but it's not a daily thing. And I feel like the self-help generation that we're going through really puts this emphasis on you should just be able to jump out of bed and slay the day. And you know what? I don't want to. I want to sleep in, and I have to force myself to do things all the time. It's just the way that it is.
Right. So let me fix your mic there.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is a misconception that every single person is motivated all the time.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of high-performing friends.
Yes.
And even like every single one of those people that we talk to at some point gets burnt out.
100%.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just reality is you can't be motivated to do things 100% of the time. But I think there are some tricks that you can do to keep yourself motivated for longer periods.
Yeah, one of them would be, knowing why you're doing it. It's like getting the kids ready for school. Our kids are now at the age where they can get up by themselves and get themselves ready and leave the house. I don't have to wake up, but I do because I want to see them off for their day, and that's really important to me. So that's like a why. I don't want to get out of bed. I'm not motivated to get out of bed, but I'm going to do it because I want to see them.
Right.
And the same thing is with business. You have to be motivated internally. You have to know why you're doing it, because there are going to be a lot of days, especially, we have some crazy clients sometimes. And there have been many times where I'm like, I'm quitting, I'm done, I hate this job, I'm out.
Right.
And
you can have multiple reasons of why.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest factor is getting real with yourself of what your why is. Yeah. And it's okay if it's money. It's okay if it's you just love helping people. It's okay if you want to build something great. And it could be all of those things. Mm-hmm. But just keeping your focus on what gets you up in the morning and why you're doing it is what can push you through when times are tough.
I think building habits is also really, really important. If we look at mental health, I mean, chances are that people listening, there's a 50% chance that you have some sort of a mental health issue, depression, whatever, anxiety, whatever the case may be. And
all of them.
I've had major problems with it in the past. And I think the thing that keeps me moving, because sometimes your why doesn't matter at that point. But having those habits and sticking to them no matter what keeps you moving.
Right.
So I think that is a key to motivation. We'll say, quote, motivation. Because I'm going to get up every day and I'm going to do these things in this order, and that gets me started.
Right. And I think one of the interesting things that I just ran across is all of these like morning routines, night routines, and they're crazy elaborate, right?
Yeah.
And so people get in these habits of like, I have to do 15 things before I can start my day. And it's like the opposite, because then if you, for some reason, can't do one of those 15 things, now like you're out of your space.
Right.
So the simpler that you can make your morning routine and your evening routine and whatever it is, the more likely you are to stick to your plans.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm really excited by my cup of coffee. It's so stupid, but I get up, get the kids ready. I have that cup of coffee waiting for me when I get them out the door, and I sit there, and that's when I do a little bit of like an Instagram scroll in the morning. That's my social media time. And just having that time by myself without people bothering me. My phone isn't ringing for work yet. And I love to start my day that way.
And there's some other hacks too. So here's a hack that I use to keep myself motivated, and it's rewards. I love having rewards to look forward to. So like you said, it could be a cup of coffee. For me, I do love my coffee, but I love video games. I love Rocket League, right? And I can get into a bad habit of all I do is play and then not work. So now what I do is I have to meet a specific goal or do something to reward myself with like a half an hour or an hour to play. And when I wasn't disciplined, I would do those things, but then I would just not go back to work.
Yeah.
And now I've come up with like a routine where it's like I have a set time, and then once that time, is over, then I'm back to work. And then but then now I'm looking for like, oh, I get to go play again once I finish this thing. And so this could be whatever it is. You get to go on a walk, you get to have another cup of coffee, you get to go to lunch, you get to, I don't know, whatever just makes you excited, like is a reward, then put those in place saying, if I do X, I get my reward. And every day that can be a different task.
Yeah, that was a huge actual, like, when I was having a really hard time with depression, going through, okay, I have to email all of these people back, and I'm going to accomplish this one thing today that I don't have to do, but I should do. And when I do that, I can do whatever I want for the rest of the day. And once you get in the groove of it, you're going to most likely keep going. But
Right.
if you can just tell yourself, let me just get through this, it's going to take 1 hour and that's it. And then I can move on. And it really does help.
I love that, because you can't think about, oh, I have to do all these things. It's just think about the one thing you have to do, and it makes it way less overwhelming. And then you usually get sucked into the process.
Yep.
And this happens to me all the time. I'm like, oh, I really don't want to do this one thing, but I got to get it done. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this part of that one thing, and then I can move on. But usually now I'm so invested in seeing the next set of progress that I'll just go on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I told myself I was only going to do one thing, and I ended up doing 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like kind of having these tricks or these hacks, I think are way more important than like watching a motivational video. The motivational video might get you started.
That's one thing that I actually like to do is midday. I like to take a break. Because we work from home, it's really easy for us, but I go for a walk in our, backyard, and I listen to some sort of motivational podcast. But it's habits. I have habits throughout the day that make the days that are really hard easier to get through.
So you only have those things like in your back pocket ready to go when you need them. You don't just like binge watch those things. It's like only when you need that pump up.
Yeah. I don't want to that's another thing.
Dependent.
A lot of times you're dependent, or you're in a habit of doing something, and it like you're not even doing anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
So
here's a crazy thought. Sometimes just watching a motivational thing makes you feel like you accomplished something when you did nothing.
100%.
And then you end up doing nothing.
Yes, because at least you get thinking about, and it's not even, you don't even feel bad about it that you're not doing it. You're like, oh, this is a great idea. I'm going to work on this tomorrow. And you're not even necessarily doing it. But one of the things that I do, because then I'll never ever do it, which is I think a problem that most people have when they're doing self-help things.
Right.
I have a running to-do list on my desk. So it's not necessarily important things that have to be done. They're not really going to move the needle a lot,
Right.
but they're just things that I want to do. So that way, when I'm sitting around, like I don't scroll through social media during the day while I'm working. I stay off of it because it just sucks you in. So if I have some free time, I'll go back to that list and be like, okay, what's going to make the most impact right now? And then I'll go back to it. So when I do get those ideas, if I'm listening to a podcast in the middle of the day or some motivational thing, and I just don't want to deal with it at that moment, I put it on the list and I deal with it later.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I love it. Motivation, like you said, it is kind of fake.
Yeah.
Because it's all in your head.
You create your own energy. You create your own motivation. So it's not like every day is a bad day. And there are some days where you just wake up and you're like, I don't want to do this. And you can pump yourself up. Like if I have a really bad day like that, I'll go walk first thing in the morning. I don't want to,
Right.
but I'm going to do it because I need to change that energy.
And sometimes you do just need a day.
We call it fuck it days.
Yeah.
You get some pizza, go sit in bed and watch a movie after. I mean, we do loans, so you do have to work sometimes.
Right.
But you get the stuff that needs to get done. That's where I was talking about, where you get you work really hard for X amount of time. You get done the things that have to get done, and then you can take a break and do those things.
Right.
And get back to it later. Like, I'll watch a movie if I'm having a really bad day, and then I'll go sit back at my desk and do another hour or whatever the case may be, 5 hours. I can sit there all damn day, but
because you don't want that to become a habit either, where you just have too many fuck it days, right? So it's like,
yes,
it's like you reserve those when you really need them. And I was just thinking how the mini rewards have been so helpful for me, because usually I would just grind, and then we're like, hey, we're just going to take a week off.
Yeah.
And for me,
that week turns into a month.
Right. Because I can't go that long without those habits, because then I'll just find another habit, a bad habit. And so like having those mini rewards, like you always feel like you are being given something, or like there's something to look forward to, rather than like, I have to accomplish these million things to get this huge reward. And then you're so burnt out that you don't even want to go back to work.
You don't enjoy the reward. How many
No.
times have we done that where we're grinding? We're actually working 12 plus hours every day for months. And the reward is a trip to San Diego, let's just say. And then we're working the whole time we're there too, or we're so burned out that we're like, ugh.
Right. Well, and that's why we've designed like our business a little bit differently now. And it took us a couple of years to do that, to where
it took some time.
Our goal is to work about 4 hours a day. Some days are way less, some days are way more, because that's just the nature of things. But on average, we work about 4 hours a day, and we know we have to do these things to be able to get the income that we want.
Yeah. And if you are working those 12 plus hour days, it happens all the time in this industry. Still give yourself those little rewards. Maybe you don't have an hour to go kill, but like I would go walk for 15 minutes. You can take 15 minutes, and it totally changes your mind frame, because while it doesn't hurt to sit there for 12 hours a day for a while, when you do it for a long time, your mental health is going to be affected.
Right.
It just is.
And when you're building things, you're building your business up, you're building processes, you're hiring employees, you're going to work more.
Oh, yeah.
But that is in the anticipation that you're going to be working less, because you've built the systems. So, you know, as much as I'm all about not working a lot of hours, I do understand that when I'm building something, like we've, been building this business,
it's been a lot of hours.
I've worked.
You've worked more the last couple of few months
than I had the last couple of years.
Yeah. It's been a lot.
Because we had the mortgage thing dialed in.
Yeah.
Right. And so you just have to realize that is keep that motivation based off of your little rewards, have these little tricks of like, okay, if I do this, I get that. And then keep yourself motivated for that payoff. Right.
And another one, I would say, set new goals. So if the goal that you set isn't exciting you, because sometimes we create these goals, especially in this business. I want to do $100 million this year. That's not going to be my goal. Like it used to be. I used to have a number amount that I wanted. And then I realized that goal wasn't actually exciting me as much as I want to help this many people.
Right.
So flip your goals to what is going to excite you.
Right. Or maybe I want to live a nomad lifestyle, right? Because you can do that in this business now, because you're completely remote. So you're like, okay, I want to have an RV, and I want to be able to travel, and I still want to be able to work. How many deals do I need to do? How many people do I need to help to be able to support this type of a lifestyle? Instead of saying, oh, I have to do 100 million in volume, say, what do I need to do to support this lifestyle? And I think if people reverse and this can be a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
But it is part of the motivation.
That's a huge one. That is a huge one. I feel like everybody is trying to use other people's goals or other people's successes as their goal motivation, whatever the case may be. And that might not even align with the life that you want to live.
Right.
And that's another one. We worked really hard to be top producers. And then we're like, I would like to maybe do half that to suit the lifestyle that we want, or hire more people, or there was a breakdown where then we had to go, okay, what's the next step, because this isn't quite it. There's nothing wrong with that, and I think a lot of people see their goals that they have, and they feel like they're concrete, whereas we saw our goals and we're like, that's not making me as happy as I thought it would. Let's pivot to this, and then we get excited again.
Right. That's the biggest thing, is you have to be real with yourself when you're setting those goals, because if you're lying to yourself and say, oh, I could totally do, 100 million, 200 million, no problem, but I just don't want it. Well, that's probably true. Now you're getting real with yourself. You don't want to work 12 to 18 hours a day building a business, because to build up all the processes to do that much.
Yeah.
You don't want to talk to that many people. You don't want a lot of these things. Like, so then you're like, oh, I'm getting real with myself. I don't want those things. I can't do that based off of what I'm willing to do. Mm-hmm. So look at what you're willing to do, what you enjoy doing, and then design your business around that.
Yeah. So either hire people or cut back or whatever the case may be. I think that that's a really great point. Be real with yourself. Right. Everybody, like I see so many people lying to themselves, and I want to do this. I want to accomplish all of these things. But then when you actually talk to them, they're like, I'm dying. Right. I don't even want to do this at all anymore. And that's not a great place to be in either.
Exactly. So find things that make you excited. That's the key.
Yeah.
What makes you excited? The little mini things, the big picture, the lifestyle, like what gets you excited to wake up in the morning, and you're going to enjoy what you do a lot more. And that's why we've really leaned into the LO code is we love it. We love marketing. Yeah. We just love it. And I love it. Like, huge. Like it gets like, I never stop searching for more like expertise in it to learn better, to learn all these practices. Like it's just ingrained in me. It's what I do. And so like, you're the one that told me you have people that want your help with this. You should lean in because you love it.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
You don't love originating.
No.
So
I love the marketing side of it.
You love the marketing side of it. And it's not like we're not originating anymore, but we decided that aligned with the lifestyle that we wanted to have.
Well, technically we're not, because now we set up our system to where we have the team handle all the loans, or 95%.
95%.
Yeah. And so that's just, we had to get real with what our objectives were.
And it's hard. It is hard to make that pivot, and it's hard to let go because no matter what, you're losing that top 1% producer status because you're not technically producing under your name anymore.
Right.
It's, goes to your team, and I think that there's some ego issues. And I think that when I was hiring like assistants and stuff, I had some ego issues even then that made it really hard for me to delegate. And so, yeah, be real with yourself.
You know what shows that you've really grown as a person is when you hire somebody and you train them well enough, and then they excel, what they do better than you did.
Yeah.
And when you can admit that and be like, dang, like, so instead of being upset about that, of like, oh, well, I have to be the best, being like, man, I'm so good at like training people that now the person I trained is better. So it's like adjusting that ego.
There's a lot of ego in this business, like in general. And yeah, I think that's something that everybody needs to sit with and work on. And it's been it's a big kick in the ass for me. I have to really work at it a lot.
Because I think the first time when I started helping people with video and someone would make one, I thought it was like better than what I did. I was like I was like, damn. But then I was like, no, this is great. Like it took me an ego shift and be like, no, now, like what I'm doing this is real. This is working. Like this is the whole goal.
But that was like, even when we had the gym, I was training all of those girls. We were doing the bikini competitions and they were doing better than me. And I'm like, this is just the worst thing ever. But I'm still so proud. But ego is like it's a hell of a drug, and it really will mess up your life if you don't check it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, thanks for watching this episode of the podcast. Motivation, it's not real. It's whatever you make it. So, hopefully some of the things we talked about kind of help you realign with what's most important to you. And if you want to learn more about, the LO Code, go to thelocode.com. We have a bunch of freebies on there. We help people with their videos. We have all kinds of services. It's really growing into something amazing. The community is growing as well. And is there any announcements?
Follow us on Instagram.
Yep.
I just got a TikTok, so you'll probably be like the first person to follow it. but we're really going to focus, now that we've built everything, we've taken so much time to build everything, tons and tons and tons of free content.
Yeah, content.
Like we
tons
just
of
want,
content is coming.
Yes, it's going to be a lot.
By the time you're watching this, the new website is up, so it's a heck of a lot better than the one we had before.
One was really bad.
That one was just a placeholder as we were working on things behind the scenes. So yeah, check out thelocode.com. Follow us on all the socials on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe so that you are alerted every time that we come out with a new podcast.